Hey, how's it going? How are you doing? So sometimes I try to get the right thing to say or whatever. But anyway, I've got these two fish items here, and I guess there's three. I don't know. They've been in the freezer for a while, and I thought, why not cook these? I wanted to cook them in this wok, but it's been sitting there for way too long. I did make some basic cheese and hot dogs earlier tonight, and I have two of them left. I'll show you what they look like. They basically just look like this right here. Oh, like this right here. Just cheese and hot dogs basically, which are pretty good. I used some cheddar and put it on bread or whatever. It tastes pretty good. But what I got are these three fish. Basically just, fish I got. I want to finish them here. And so I think I'm going to do them on the stove. Normally what I was doing was baking them. But I'm going to do them on the stove, I think. So I got plenty of dishes over here, man. I've not been doing all the dishes all the time. But I think what I'm going to do is just sort of a just kind of a just basically cook on the stove with a little bit of with just a little bit of the leftover fat that I have. This is the new one. So they all fit in here. This is pretty good. So I do want to season them just a little bit. But what I have is just a little bit of fat left over that I can put in there. So you can see here just basic fat in the thing right here. So I don't think it'll take too much. So I don't want to spill much of this. This is just sort of what was left over. So I'm going to add just a tiny bit of salt and garlic and onion. And hope that these brown a little bit. I don't know if I need to add more fat or not. It's probably plenty of garlic and onion there. Try to get all out that I can. I don't know if that's going to be enough. This is just going to be basically a quick little bit of a fry here. A little bit of a cook. Cook here, fry here. I don't know exactly what to call it. I don't think it's technically enough to fry. I don't know. Whatever. I'm starting to get a little bit tired myself. And then basically I gotta get something that's not gonna... They sell these all over the place. These were the big popular ones. Basically a fish spatula. I didn't really know, what. Anyway, so we'll get these on there and basically just turn these around and do sort of a lower I think I'll do all three. I can probably only do 2 or 1, but I guess I'll just lay that on there. Soda. Get this all sort of I think there's some moisture in the fish here, and so when that moisture comes out, I want it to mix with whatever the fat is there, and to kind of cook into the garlic and onion. And so it'll kind of get kind of a dry kind of cook. It'll brown a little bit, like I was saying, and then, you know, I don't want it to be too salty though. So I'm hoping that there's enough moisture that'll come out of the fish as it just heats up. Otherwise, you'll get a real concentration of the seasoning. It'll be almost too much in 1 or 2 bites. To get too hot fast, but I want that to kind of mix that seasoning in there. I probably should be cooking some rice right now, but I finished the rest of the rice that I'd cooked already. So I suppose I could have it with some of the hot dog and cheese on the bread here. Trying to get this. Yeah, see it's getting hotter there. All this has got to get hot here to get that seasoning going, otherwise it just stays. It'll be a little too concentrated in there. I don't even have half an onion that I had cut up already. I don't want to add cheese because the cheese, actually if it's non-stick, actually what I'm going to do, I've actually got some really old mild pepper rings. I need to get a little bit of liquid in there. So what I'm going to do is just simply do a 2-spoon in there. It's going to totally change the flavor. And it's going to add the moisture. It will add a little bit more salt. Maybe I'm not supposed to cook with these. I just know I'm going to get too much concentrated spice and salt in there. I got to get a little bit of extra liquid. What I'm actually going to do is just pour some of this liquid in here. I'll do 3 spoonfuls and 3 of the peppers. I know I'm not supposed to cook with these. They've been sitting in the refrigerator for a while. And then that way I'll at least get some of that spices and seasoning. You know, sometimes, you know, for a while they were adding the peppers to like the, you know, you go to a restaurant, you get a calamari appetizer. They added the peppers to it. I normally don't eat really any vinegar at all. But you fry the, you know, whatever the calamari, and then they add a pepper. So they added sort of a sauce to it too. But if you just basically, you know, cook this at a little bit higher temperature here, and now this is going to moisturize, which is going to be a little bit of a problem for the fish because it won't. I won't have that. You know, it might get a little bit mush instead of sort of, you know, dry sort of browning there. You can definitely smell that vinegar in there. It changes the flavor. I want to get this temperature definitely up faster. At least some of the seasonings will mix into this. And what I'll do is add a little bit of pepper to it. I don't want to, sometimes when you add the pepper to the seasoning, it pops a lot out of the pan when it gets hot. So I'll add about, I don't know, 6 to 10 turns. I'll go right up to 10 on that one, just a couple more. And then you got to get that vinegar to kind of burn off there, and try not to get too much into the fish if it gets mushy. It's going to get a little bit mushy already. I can already tell. You can try to use, a lot of times you have a stove or something that's not exactly level. Okay, you can get kind of a collection of some of the moisture in one side while the other part of the fish cooks where the moisture doesn't collect. Okay? And then what you basically get is kind of this little, you know, heating up of these peppers down here. That vinegar will come off, and then you basically have just kind of it'll be a little bit saltier, which I wasn't expecting when I first started. But you will still be able to kind of cook these, you know, these pieces of fish into sort of a drier, maybe even a little crispy brownie, not brownie, but brown each side. And then this vinegar is going to burn off here just because it's vinegar. And then we're going to get kind of these peppers in there that will be seasoned with the garlic, the onion, you know, and some of the fish here as some of the fish comes down off into here. You can see some of it burning off already having kind of mixed into the fish. And once that vinegar has kind of come off, right, you got heavily seasoned peppers on here, and you can kind of move them around a little bit. Just move them all over here, you know, just, and then they'll sort of, you know, go in and mix in with here. Going to be a little bit mushier here. I'm a little bit kind of concerned. It's all right. It's going to be mushy a little bit. I'm just going to have to kind of deal with that. It might be a little bit too salty. I don't know. Going to be, I think, a little bit too salty. Anytime you pour that liquid on there, it's a lot of salt, and then I added salt, and the different fat also all has salt in it. So I'll probably be able to eat one or two of these maybe, and then just kind of let the third one kind of, you know, you definitely probably don't want to just add a bunch of cheese to it either. It won't really help. What I am going to try to do, I'm going to try to basically just make a fish sandwich. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I'm not going to make the sandwich. What I was thinking is basically take the bread, heat it up, add some cheese, put that on it with the peppers, but I'm actually just not going to do that. You get that pepper in there, you'll see some of that fat pop up right there when it gets hot. It's always kind of a problem. What we want is we want these to kind of darken a little bit. They can be light brown like this, but what I want them to be is a little bit darker. Okay, it'll brown much more, even blacken a little bit. You know, sometimes you go to a restaurant, they've got blackened cod or blackened fish. It's basically what we're trying to do here, but I obviously don't have, you know, as much fat in the pan. So they won't blacken as much for some reason. But sometimes when they're brown like this, sometimes the inside is not, you know, real hot and cooked. You know, because these were not cooked beforehand. I don't think they weren't. So it's got to cool and then cook all the way through. See, the peppers are pretty much done here. I can almost take them out early, you know, set them on the plate, which is what I think I'll do. I don't want the peppers to be heavily blackened, but this is going to be a heavily salted food here. Just so much salt in the liquid from the peppers, and adding everything to it. Some of this is starting to come off here. There we go. That's what we want there. We'll get these pretty heavily going there. And then I'm going to take these peppers off and just basically put them on a plate. I probably won't be able to eat as much as I like because the salt is going to be pretty heavy. But just basically put these on a plate a little bit early. I'll put them over to the side. And then just let these kind of cook here. Obviously, probably should have added more fat, less salt, or no salt if I was going to use the peppers because they're soaked in salt. You could even want to maybe add a vegetable. The problem with the vegetable is it's going to add so much moisture and liquid in there. You're going to get those fish, that each piece of that fish is going to be, you know, come apart basically, and you don't want that. It's just about how we want it. Take this one over, and that's done. Go right there. I don't know what that is right there. Must be some type of a skin. Just a real white color there. Almost something hard. Maybe a bone or something. I don't know if you can see it there. It's heavily paled. It looks like it's a bone. I'm actually going to set that one aside to take a look at it with you. Put it on a I don't have a plate, I'll just put it in a bowl. We're actually going to see what that is, if that's just a different type of fish in there or some type of thing. We'll turn this off. Then what we'll do is we'll set this over here. Basically start looking at this. You can see there we've got some type of a white, real heavy white, almost like coating type of thing. What I'm gonna do is get basically a kid's fork and a kid's knife. I'm gonna set it, see where you can see it. If you can't see there, you can see here. Okay. So we're gonna set it here and just kind of see what this is, because this wasn't added to it. It's just, and it's a little bit harder too. Maybe it's just a piece of the fish. See, it's pulling out of there. Okay, so what we got here is just a different cut piece of that fish. It's got kind of that whitish on it. I don't know, sometimes you feel like it's just a different piece of that fish there, just a little bit of that whitening as it cooks. Okay, sometimes the salmon will give that off too, but it's definitely not really easily cuttable. Okay, it's, you know, it's definitely a harder, it does tear there, so that's actually fine. So anyway, I was just looking at that. It looked a little bit different color, which maybe these could be cooked longer, I don't know. I'm gonna set this over here and just kind of try this. I want you to see what my expression is, to see how salty it is. I definitely think it's going to be very salty. So I don't know if I can eat the peppers either. But I don't know. You get into it, you're like, well, I need more fat or I need more moisture or what. But, you know, when you add the... It tastes really good. It's hot. It's got a little bit of crispiness to it. The salt is actually good. It's actually, I'm probably, by the time I finish this, or if I eat any of the peppers, it'll be more salt. But for the most part, it's good. I like this. I don't want to eat too fast. If it's too hot, I'll burn my mouth. Wow, I can't believe that. I was expecting it to have that, like, almost gritty, harsh salt, you know, like it like shoots up, like I cannot eat any more salt. but I actually find it to be quite good. I will try some of the peppers. Just add a pepper here. Get a little bit of that spicy flavor to it. Getting warm. I'm going to try to make sure it's cool. Not too many peppers. Good. Ooh, drop some there. Probably go sit down and watch TV or something. I will definitely feel a little bit of the salt later tonight, tomorrow. Maybe want to drink more water or soda. I'll definitely feel it. But sometimes, tonight or whatever, it just ends up tasting good. And I won't eat that piece, but I think that piece is all right. But all right, that was good. Sometimes I had way too much, to the pan. I add, extra this, extra that. You don't get what you want in it. That tasted good tonight. So, anyway, I'm going to end it there. Hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.